These are two honeybee workers about to lift off. Now, honeybees are one of the most well-studied and well-filmed insects on Earth, so I was a little worried that filming them wouldn't reveal anything new or interesting. Well, I was wrong. Between capturing flight sequences like this and slow-motion close-up views of the honeybee stinger in action like this, I think I can show you some interesting and hard-to-notice details about how these insects work. So to make this video, I didn't bring a hive or live bees here in the lab. Instead, I went down the road to NC State University to the apiculture field lab. I set up the high-speed camera there while the lab technician Kim was doing her rounds to check on and maintain the hives as they prepared to go into winter.
So I'm Kim Guillemette, and I am the apiculture technician here at the bee lab.
So you usually start at the side, so you're less likely to roll the queen. And you can see all of this is honey, and then all of this is nectar. So some of the bees that were light got sugar syrup because it's so thick and you can't get all of it poured out. I usually leave it for the bees to clean up for me. And these buckets that just a few minutes ago had the last little dribbles of syrup are now clean. They're completely clean and dried up.
There were so many bees flying into and out of those buckets that it presented an opportunity to film the bees in mid-flight instead of just the normal takeoff shots I usually get. So I set up the camera and got some slow motion footage. If you watch these two bees right here, you might be surprised to see, like I was, that flying bees bump into each other in crowded situations like this. In fact, in just a few seconds of footage that I captured, it happens over and over again. Another interesting thing is visible in this shot. If you watch either of these two bees, you can see pretty clearly by looking at their dangling hind legs how much their body is shaking with every one of their wing beats. The ends of their legs, where the tarsal claws hang down, flick back and forth as the bee moves through the air. In the up-close footage, you can see it happen too. Wing flaps make their whole body vibrate. Mechanistically, it makes sense, because bees, like most insects, move their wings when muscles contract to deform their thorax. The wing muscles don't pull directly at the base of the wings themselves. While most insects flap this way, I haven't noticed it making the tarsi wiggle as much as it seems to do with these honeybee workers. My other goal with filming honeybees was to capture footage showing how their stingers work. Now, I've done this before with ants, by having them pierce through a thin wax film like this to film on the underside what their stingers are doing during venom injection. With the ant footage, I saw the sting apparatus being pushed through the film while its two thin lancet components extend out, pumping back and forth, drawing out venom droplets as they move. Now with honeybees, it's anatomically very similar, but I've only seen diagrams of it, like this really nice one from the Stated Clearly YouTube channel. In this diagram, the venom comes out of the end of the stationary stylet when the moving lancet components are retracted from the end of the stinger. But when I captured footage of ant stingers in action, the movement of the lancets extends them beyond the end of the stinger, which corresponds to venom being released. So the majority of my time in the bee lab was spent like this, trying to capture that view of the honeybee stinger in motion. I spent about 4 hours trying to film it, and as you'll see in a minute, I think I ended up with just one good sequence showing how it works. Part of the reason it's hard to capture, and probably why there's not a lot of footage of it, is how small everything is. For scale, this is the tip of a sharpened pencil, and it's about 1/3 of a millimeter wide. These are the components of the stinger at scale. These barbed parts are the lancets that are pumped back and forth. And this part is a stationary stylet that the lancets attach to. Here's a cross section of the stinger with those three parts fitting together. The venom canal is the hollow space they create that the venom flows through. So here's my honeybee footage. Getting them to extend their stinger through the film was easy, but the bees were way less eager than the ants were to actually dispense their venom. In these first clips, you can see some movements of the stinger apparatus, but nothing much is happening. I should also mention here that all this happens fast, and what you're seeing was captured at 1200 frames per second. This clip, I think, is the best of what I captured. As the stinger comes into focus, you can clearly see the lancets moving and extending beyond the tip of the stinger. This is the same type of movement I saw with the ants when they dispense their venom. If I pause it right here, you can even see the outline of the hollow venom canal inside the stinger. Overall, seeing this movement to me was pretty interesting because it shows how similar ant and bee venom delivery systems are. Of course, both their stingers are evolutionary modifications of a wasp ovipositor, and that back and forth pumping of the lancets is probably related to the original function of shimmying an egg down an egg delivery tube. So that's it for the bee footage for now. Hopefully, I'll have more bee-related stories to film in the future. Thanks for watching.